News. This is Hardik Trivedi. Let's have a look what is happening in India and in the world. Hong Kong media tycoon Jimmy Lai was arrested on Monday on suspicion of collusion with foreign powers, his aide said. In the highest profile use yet of the new national security law Beijing imposed on a city after protest last year. Jimmy Lai is being arrested for collusion with foreign powers at this time, Mark Simon wrote on Twitter. Hong Kong police said 7 people had been arrested on suspicion of violating the national security law, but the statement did not reveal the name of those arrested. Lai, who owns popular tabloid Apple Daily, is an outspoken pro-democracy figure in Hong Kong and regularly criticizes China's authoritarian rule. Simon said police searched both Lai and his son's home, as well as other members of media group Next Digital, which Lai founded. Last month, Chinese broadcaster CCTV said pro-democracy activist Nathan Law and 5 others were wanted under the law, although all 6 had fled overseas. Law had relocated to Britain in July to continue international advocacy work for Hong Kong. World leaders and international organizations pledged nearly $300 million in emergency humanitarian aid to Beirut in the wake of the devastating explosion, but warned that no money for rebuilding the capital will be made available until Lebanese authorities commit themselves to the political and economic reforms demanded by the people. Over 30 participants to the international conference on Sunday offered help for a credible and independent investigation into the August 4 Beirut explosion, another key demand of the Lebanese crowds who took to the streets on Saturday and Sunday. In Beirut, 2 Lebanese cabinet ministers, including a top aide to the premier, resigned amid signals that the embattled government may be unraveling in the aftermath of the devastating blast that ripped through the capital. The blast killed 160 and wounded 6,000, raising public anger to new levels. The resignation of Information Minister Manal Abdel Samad, in which she cited failure to meet the people's aspirations, and last week's blast, was followed by a swirl of reports that other ministers were also resigning. Late Sunday, Environment Minister Dominios Cutter resigned, calling the ruling system flaccid and sterile. He stepped down despite closed-door meetings into the evening and a flurry of phone calls between Prime Minister Hassan Diab and several ministers following Abdel Samad's announcement. The political hanging and appeared to put off more resignations. If 7 of the 20 ministers resign, the cabinet would effectively have to step down and remain in place as a caretaker government. U.S. Health and Human Services Secretary Alex Azar arrived in Taiwan on Sunday in the highest level visit by an American cabinet official since the break in formal diplomatic relations between Washington and Taipei in 1979. Beijing has already protested Azar's visit as a betrayal of U.S. commitments not to have official contact with the island. China claims Taiwan as its own territory to be brought under its control by military force if necessary. Azar is due to meet with the island's independent-leaning president Tsai Ing-wen, along with health officials, during a 3-day visit aimed at highlighting cooperation in the fight against the coronavirus. Taiwan's government-run healthcare system has been credited with keeping the number of coronavirus cases to under 500, with just 7 deaths, despite its close proximity to China, where the virus originated. China sees Taiwan as a key irritant as its troubled relationship with Washington, with whom it is also at odds over trade, technology, the South China Sea, and China's response to the virus pandemic. The US maintains only unofficial ties with Taiwan in deference to Beijing, but it is the island's most important ally and provider of defense equipment. Azhar is the first health secretary to visit Taiwan and the first cabinet member to visit in 6 years. In 2014, then Environmental Protection Agency Administrator Gina McCarthy visited Taiwan, sparking protest from Beijing. Chinese Air Force jets briefly crossed over the midline of the Taiwan Strait on Monday and were tracked by Taiwanese missiles. Taiwan's government said as US Health Chief Alex Azar visited the island to offer President Donald Trump's strong support. Azar arrived in Taiwan on Sunday as the highest level US official to visit in 4 decades, a trip condemned by China, which claims the island as its own, further irritating Sino-US relations. China, which had promised unspecified retaliation to Azar's trip, flew J-11 and J-10 fighter aircraft briefly onto Taiwan's side of the sensitive and narrow strait which separates it from its giant neighbor. At around 9 a.m., shortly before Azar met Taiwan President Tsai Ing-wen, Taiwan's Air Force said. The Chinese aircraft were tracked by land-based Taiwanese anti-aircraft missiles and were driven out by patrolling Taiwanese aircraft, the Air Force said in a statement released by the Defense Ministry. The incursion was only the third time since 2016 that Taiwan has said Chinese jets had crossed the strait's median line. Amid deteriorating relations between Washington and Beijing, the Trump administration has made strengthening its support for the democratic island a priority, boosted arms sales. It's true honor to be here to convey a message of strong support and friendship from President Donald Trump to Taiwan, Azar told Tsai in the presidential office, standing in front of 2 Taiwanese flags. Washington broke off official ties with Taipei in 1979 in favor of Beijing. Azar is visiting to strengthen economic and public health cooperation with Taiwan and support Taiwan's international role in fighting the pandemic. Congress leader Rahul Gandhi on Monday stepped up his attack on the center over the draft Environment Impact Assessment, saying it must be withdrawn to stop environmental destruction. Gandhi alleged that the aim of EIA 2020 draft was clear loot of the nation. This EIA is another dreadful example of what the BJP government has been doing for its select suit-boot friends who loot the resources of the country. Gandhi alleged EIA 2020 draft must be withdrawn to stop loot of the nation and environmental destruction. He tweeted, the draft EIA notification, which involves procedure of issuing environmental clearances to various projects, was issued by the Environment Ministry in March and public suggestions were invited. The Environment Ministry had earlier said it would not extend the deadline for people to give suggestions and opinions beyond June 30, but later gave time till August 12. On Sunday, Gandhi had urged people to protest the new EIA 2020 draft, saying it was dangerous and if notified, the long-term consequences would be catastrophic. BJP President JP Nadda on Monday said the inauguration of the optical fiber cable project linking the Andaman and Nicobar Islands with the rest of the country is a symbol of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's commitment to ease of living. by inaugurating the submarine optical fiber cable connecting Chennai and Port Blade. The Prime Minister has opened doors to endless opportunities for the people of Andaman and Nicobar, Nadda tweeted, along with providing cheap and good facilities of mobile connectivity and fast internet. This will also help in boosting the tourism. Optical fiber project connecting Andaman and Nicobar to the rest of the country and the world is the symbol of Modi ji's commitment to ease of living, he said. The Prime Minister on Monday inaugurated the first ever undersea optical fiber project for Andaman and Nicobar Islands, which will provide high-speed broadband connections in the Union Territory at par with services in the mainland. Baba Ramdev's Patanjali Ayurved is considering to bid for the title sponsorship of the upcoming IPL, according to a company official. The slot of the title sponsorship of the IPL was vacated after the Chinese handset maker Vivo decided to exit from it. The move would help the Haridwar-based firm access a global marketing platform, as Patanjali is focusing on exports for its Ayurved-based FMCG products. Confirming the development, Patanjali spokesperson SK Tijarawala told, "We are considering this." However, Tijariwala also added that the company is yet to take a final call on the issue. According to him, the Board of Control for Cricket in India is coming with the expression of interest on Monday, and it has to submit its proposal by August 14. Last week, BCCI and Vivo decided to suspend their partnership for the IPL 2020 beginning on September 19 in the UAE amid clamor to boycott Chinese products in the wake of Sino-India border standoff. The title sponsorship is a significant part of the IPL's commercial revenue, half of which is shared equally by the franchisees. Vivo won the IPL title sponsorship rights for 5 years from 2018 to 2022 for a reported sum of rupees 2,190 crore, approximately rupees 440 crore per annum. It's time for a short break. We'll join you in a short while.
पहली नजर में हो गया मैं दीवाना 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 इतना सुंदर जैसे कोई सपना सुहाना मैं दीवाना दीवाना
कचारिया टाइल्स, जो देखे वो दीवाना।
Dress up up to the fan with the cooler number one. Take a chase go more fun, unte cooler number one. Take a don't run from the sun, unte Kenstra number one.
India has decided to upgrade its diplomatic presence at the United Nations in preparation for taking over as a non-permanent member of the Security Council in January 2021, with an additional deputy permanent representative and a council to appoint to handle the UNSC matters. External Affairs Minister Subramaniam Jaishankar will personally review India's stint at the UNSC every month. According to South Block, R. Ravindran, a 1999 batch Indian Foreign Service officer posted as Joint Secretary, will join at a rank equivalent of DPR at the Indian Permanent Mission to UN at New York. Pratik Mathur, a 2007 IFS officer and Deputy Secretary of PMO, will join as UNSC Counselor, while the mission already is headed by T.S. Trimurti and has Nagaraj Naidu as DPR. The two officers will join the group before the 75th UN General Assembly opens on September 15, 2020. Preparatory work for the new non-permanent members begins months after the formal joining of UNSC. Ravindran had served in the UNPR under Hardeep Singh Puri, now Minister of Civil Aviation, and headed the mission when India was a non-permanent member in 2011-12. But diplomats underline that as New Delhi prepares to play a constructive role at UNSC, it has not forgotten that it is still waiting to become a permanent member, 75 years after the world body was founded. Sachin Pilot, the former Rajasthan Deputy Chief Minister who triggered a breakaway from the ruling Congress in the state, reached out to the party's leadership in Delhi and held a meeting with Rahul Gandhi on Monday, according to two senior leaders aware of the developments. The developments take place exactly a month after Pilot and 18 dissident Rajasthan legislators left Jaipur to rebel against Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot. Through the day, representatives of both sides held follow-up meetings to hammer out the details of the truce agreement. An announcement is expected soon. The big question is now whether Pilot will go back to Rajasthan or if he will be accommodated in the Central Congress leadership. When asked, his side, however, did not rule out Pilot attending the upcoming session of the Rajasthan Assembly beginning August 14. It is on the 14th, so there is time left. We will be making an announcement soon, leaders in the Pilot camp said. A leader from the Pilot camp confirmed that a meeting took place for over 2 hours at Gandhi's residence. He said Priyanka Gandhi Vadra, who has been in contact with Pilot, too was present. The Gandhis did save the day for Ashok Gehlot government, said the leader quoted above. They assured Pilot that all issues that he had would be looked into. Another leader privy to the details told that a committee may be announced to look into the unresolved issues between Gehlot and Pilot, who have had a series of differences since the Congress coming to power in the state in December 2018. India's newly acquired 5 Rafale fighters are practicing night flying in the mountainous terrain of Himachal Pradesh, so that the Golden Arrow Squadron, with its Meteor beyond visual range air-to-air missile and Scalp air-to-air ground standoff weapon, will be ready if the situation deteriorates on the LAC in Ladakh sector. People familiar with the matter say the first batch of Rafale fighters, which landed at the Indian Air Force Air Base at Ambala on July 29, are fully operational, with the first 18 platforms to be placed in Ambala and the next 18 fighters to be based in Hasimara. India has contracted to purchase 36 jets made by Dassault Aviation, South Block official said. A government official said the top-of-the-line fighter jets are staying away from the LAC lest the People's Liberation Army radars in occupied Aksai Chin identify their frequency signatures and use it to jam in the worst-case scenario. Military aviation experts, however, say that Rafales can also be used for training in Ladakh sector, as all these fighters are equipped with programmable signal processors or the capacity to change signal frequencies in the event of hostilities. Former President Pranab Mukherjee this afternoon said that he is tested for COVID-19 positive while on a hospital visit for a separate procedure. In a tweet, Pranab Mukherjee, who was India's president between 2012 and 2017, urged all of those who has come in contact with him in the last week to isolate themselves as a precaution and get tested for COVID-19. The outbreak has affected over 22 lakh people in the country. A prolific leader, Pranab Mukherjee, has authored several books on the Indian economy and on nation building. The many awards and honors conferred on him include India's second highest civilian award, Padma Vibhushan, in 2008, the Best Parliamentarian Award in 1997, and Best Administrator in India Award 2011, according to the profile on his official website. Several top politicians in the country, including Union Home Minister Amit Shah, Madhya Pradesh Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan, Karnataka Chief Minister B.S. Yediyurappa, Congress leader Siddaramaiah have tested positive for coronavirus in the last few weeks. The S&P BSE Sensex gained for the third day in a row, and Nifty 50 index advanced for fifth straight day, led by gains in pharma shares. The Sensex rose as much as 390 points at the day's highest level, and Nifty 50 index briefly moved about its important psychological level of 11,300. However, some profit booking at higher levels led to a partial correction in the benchmarks in last hour of trade, analysts say. Larsen & Toubro, HDFC, ICICI, HDFC Bank and Mahindra were also among the top movers in the Sensex. The Sensex ended 141 points higher at 38,182, and Nifty 50 index climbed 56 points to close at 11,270. All the 11 sector gauges complied by the National Stock Exchange ended higher, led by the Nifty Pharma indexes over 5% gain. The Nifty Realty, Financial Services, Bank, IT and Metal indexes also rose 0.6 to 2.8% each. Mid and small cap shares outperformed their larger peers at the Nifty Mid Cap 100 and Nifty Small Cap 100 indexes rose over a percent each. Cipla was top Nifty gainer. The stock rose as much as 12% to hit a new record high of 814. Larsen & Toubro, Mahindra & Mahindra, Tata Motors, Sun Pharma, NTPC, Tech Mahindra, Dr. Reddy's Lab, Shree Cement, UPL, JSW Steel and Bharti Infratel also rose 2 to 2.5% each. On the flip side, Eicher Motors, Asian Paints, Reliance, Bajaj Finserv, Nestle, TCS and Axis Bank were among the losers. The overall market breadth was positive as 1700 shares ended higher while 1000 closed lower on the BSE. A national investigation team landed in the UAE last night in connection with the Kerala diplomatic gold smuggling case. The NIA is likely to interrogate one of the key accused, Faisal Farid, and a couple of more people who have been taken into custody by the Dubai authorities, said officials familiar with the developments. It will also ask details of companies or Hawala operators who were allegedly involved in routing the smuggled money, they added. The agency is probing the terror angle in smuggling of gold in Kerala, and Faisal Farid in Dubai is suspected to have played a key role in the whole racket, the official said. The premier agency has arrested 10 people in the case so far. Kerala gold smuggling drama unfolded after the customs seized 30 kilograms of gold from an air cargo consignment from the UAE to the country's consular office in Thiruvananthapuram on July 5. Swapna Suresh, considered the main accused, was working as a consultant with the state IT department at that time. Her bail plea was rejected by the NIA Special Court in Kochi. The court also said that Anti-Terror Law Unlawful Activities Prevention Act will apply in her case. At the scandal broke, Kerala Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan's powerful secretary Shiv Shankar, a senior IAS officer, was removed from his post after reports surfaced that he was allegedly close to Swapna Suresh. The case was subsequently handed over to the NIA. That's all for now. Keep watching K News. This is Hardik Trivedi taking your leave. Be alert, be positive, be safe.